Welcome to Sochi, the home of the 2014 Winter Olympics and current host of the Russian Grand Prix, the 6th time we've been here at Sochi since it was introduced to the calendar. The final street circuit on the OC calendar, the track, as I said, situated around the 2014 Winter Olympic Village. The circuit, the 4th longest on the OC calendar, behind Spa, Baku and Silverstone, with Mercedes having won here twice over the past 5 seasons, with Ferrari having won here twice, or Mercedes having won here 3 times, and Ferrari winning here 2 times. 53 laps here around Sochi, a circuit length of 5.848 kilometers, 18 corners, lap record set by Florian Volker last season, a 133.653. So it's going to be very interesting. There are a number of overtaking spots on this track. It's not easy to overtake though, being a street circuit, of course. Previous 4 winners here have included Mackenzie winning here in 2015-16, and Joseph Williams winning here the last 2 seasons we've been here in Russia, 2017 and 2018. Can he keep it up and make it 3 in a row? We will find out. The tyres we've been using for this race will be the hard tyres, and now we're going to see the full practice results from Russia, and it was Franco Lopez top, and of course top of the standings as well, by nearly half a second ahead of Joseph Williams in second. Gao, Chung, Gomez, Kupok, Gamma, Mackenzie, Tomaselli and Carr completed the top 10. But that was practice. This is qualifying, and this was the result of qualifying. It was a Ferrari 1-2 on the front row, Joseph Williams taking pole position ahead of Laura Chung alongside. On row 2 of the grid we have the 2 Francos, Franco Gamba 3rd and Franco Lopez 4th for Red Bull and Mercedes respectively. On row 3 of the grid we have Miguel Gao 5th for Red Bull and Gabriel Gomez, a great qualifying performance in the Alfa Romeo to get 6th. On row 4 we have Armand Carr for Mercedes and Renault Motion 8th for Racing Point, this point qualifying for Carr as well. You have to say, on row 5 of the grid we have Kirasma de Rosa and David Kupok for McLaren and Toro Rosso. On row 6 we have Jared Fosbury, good qualifying by him in the Haas, and George Roque 12th for Racing Point. On row 7 we have Jay Mackenzie for Renault and Andrea Federi 14th for Alfa Romeo, the ARRF racing team. Palio Tomaselli 15th for McLaren. Felix Sontag managed to get in Q2 for Williams, a good qualifying from his point of view. 17th and 18th on the grid is Chris Chatfield for Haas and Matteo Catalan for Toro Rosso, to be renamed of course AlphaTauri for next season. On row 10 we have Evan Byrne, not a good qualifying by him for Renault, and Maxime Tikoff, the home favourite, 20th for Manor. On the last of the grid of course we have Lean Capano for Williams and Rosetta Martinez for Manor. So that is the grid, and OC news for this week is that Dudu Kirby, currently 2nd in the GP2 standings, will be promoted from GP2 and will drive for Haas, replacing the outgoing Chris Chatfield, who of course will be going to AlphaTauri for next season. So weather-wise, it's going to be an 80% chance of rain, so it looks like it's going to start dry, get wet, but then it will dry up at the end of the race. So this could be very interesting indeed to see how this goes, as we're now of course on the grid, and as you can see, it is dry as a bone, but it won't be for too long. So it'll be interesting to see when the rain starts to come, as the 5 lights are now coming on here in Sochi, as we now have 5 lights that are now on, and we wait for them to go out right about now, and finally we're underway. And who's to get the jump? It's a long run to the actual first corner. It looks like Williams has got the jump ahead of Chung as they head towards essentially turn 1, but what is turn 2? Go through the right hand, although Chung actually might be alongside Williams, so she could take the lead from Williams as the cars head towards turn 2. And is Chung going to take the lead? She's on the inside, or is Williams going to keep it? And the answer is Williams is going to keep the lead going around the first corner, and so he does. Meanwhile, I think that was Gamba that's moved ahead into 3rd position, and meanwhile Armand Carr is up to 4th. He's made actually a good start. Lopez in 5th. As we look through the rest of the order, there's Kupok side by side with De Rosa, and Kupok trying to go on to the inside into the next corner, which he does so, and oh, there's contact, and Kupok, is he around? And I think De Rosa actually saves him from going around there, but he gets overtaken by, I think that was Jared Fosbury. But let's have a look at that again. So on board with Kupok, he was alongside De Rosa, and as they came, they looked like Kupok had the move done, but just avoided that curve. They made contact and actually got saved from a full spin, as was by the curve and De Rosa, but he lost a place. I think it was to Jared Fosbury. Meanwhile, we're on board with Jay Mackenzie in the Renault, heading up towards turn 2, and he's just ran straight into the back of Roque in the Racing Point there. So he has got damage. That is not what he would like. Meanwhile, we're on board with Rosetta Martinez for Manor, heading up towards the first corner, and yep, he now goes into the back of Maxime Tikoff, so he will not be alive by the time we have the end of the race. Meanwhile, we're on board with Felix Sonntag in the Williams from his start. He made a good launch off the line, manages to get ahead of Tomaselli in the McLaren. Now he's going past Federi in the Alfa Romeo, so already up 2 positions, and he's only just got through a corner. Now he's behind the Renault of Mackenzie, of course, who then goes into the back of Rogas. We'll see. Looking from Sontag's point of view, as you can see coming in, they all go very slowly. They all crowd up as then Sontag actually makes contact with the back of the Haas. I'm not quite sure what car that is actually, but he makes contact with the car in front. But luckily, he doesn't get any damage. He's already up to 13th, and he will go past Roque into. Well, he will try to go past Roque. He actually gets blocked by in there, and eventually he will go past Roque into the next corner, which he does, and so Sontag moves up to 12th place. So a good start for Sontag, making up 4 places there on the first lap so far. Well, so far. We could move up further, actually. He's now behind David Kupok in the Toro Rosso in front of him, and so he follows him through, but this is exactly the start that Sontag wanted, that is for sure. Meanwhile, we're looking on board with Gabriel Gomez, who's on the back of Roland Moichin in the Racing Point. He's now going to try and make a move for 7th position here. He's on the inside, and he's going to make it up into 7th, so Gabriel Gomez once again having yet another, well, I say good start. He actually dropped places off the start. He dropped down to a few positions. Now he's moved up, managed to regain one of them, I should say. Byrne passing Chatfield there for P16. Mackenzie's now out of the pits, Rogue's out of the pits, and Tikoff is the one that lost out badly in the pits in his home race, so it's a double whammy for him, really. Meanwhile, Willows and Chung have already got clear of the rest of the field, but Chung seemingly coming back onto Willows, and meanwhile there was a side-by-side there. Meanwhile, Kupok trying to battle with Fosbury. I think it was De Rossa who was battling with Moichin in front. Kupok trying to get alongside Fosbury, can't quite do it. And so, yep, there was the side-by-side between Moichin. So meanwhile, this big battle for third going on. Car holding up this pack of cars. He actually gets past Gamba, coming off the back straight there. Carr himself actually setting the fastest lap. Meanwhile, Chung now on the back of Willows. This is for the lead of the race. And Willows defends into the first corner, so Chung's going to have to wait, and has lost a lot of momentum off the corner. So meanwhile, the car is trying to desperately to hold off. Lopez trying desperately to hold off Gao. Meanwhile, De Rossa goes past Moichin for 8th into what I call turn 1. I'm still going to call it turn 1. Tomaselli battling there. Meanwhile, Byrne goes past the Toro Rosso of Catalan, or does he? And it's still side by side between the two. They're coming into the long left-hander. Almost about 180 degrees almost, it seems like, this corner. Still side by side, but Byrne has the run. He'll make it through, although he goes wide, and then Catalan gets him straight back. So that didn't work out for Byrne there. Meanwhile, Tomaselli battling there with Federi. Meanwhile, Alama Car is actually closing on the 2 Ferraris. Of course, Chung lost out ground trying to attack Willows. Now that's going to allow Car to close up. So we could see a 3-way battle for the lead very soon. Meanwhile, Gao just about in the slipstream of the Mercedes of Franco Lopez. Is he going to be close enough into the next corner to make the move? He's closing up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And no, so he can't quite make it stick there. But Gomez is again having a good start to the race. Meanwhile, Kupok once again battling with Jared Fosbury for 10th position for the final point spot. Meanwhile, Felix Sonntag is there as well, closing up. So could Sonntag get involved in this battle? So as we look through the rest of the field, Campana now looking to attack Chatfield, who's so far not had a good start to this race. And meanwhile, Amakar yet again, so that's another fastest lap, so he is certainly closing up, and that actually is the manner as Fosbury goes wide there of Tikoff, who is already going to be lapped to win, well, nearly, as it's only 5 laps in. And wow, would you believe that? Tikoff in front of his home fans, and that's not what he would have wanted. But anyway, this was what happened to Fosbury, defending from Kupok behind, makes a little mistake there, but manages to keep it on the road, but it's only going to be a matter of time, surely. Meanwhile, De Rossa, as you can see, has got past Gomez for 7th. So De Rossa, yet again, also having a good race so far. And now they're actually closing up to this battle, actually, behind the Red Bull. So this was, whoa, look at that. Gal launching himself down the inside of Lopez, and he's gone way too wide, so Lopez managed to keep the position, and that's allowed Gomez and co to catch up. And Gomez actually even tried to make a move on Gal on the inside there, but Gal defended hard. But then Gomez himself went a little bit wide, and that's how actually that allowed De Rossa to get through. So that explains all that. Meanwhile, Fosbury still defending as hard as he can from Kupok. Sonntag battling with Federi behind. And the McLaren there, Thomas now going to go around the outside, it looks like, and past Federi. The track does look to be getting, I don't know, it looks to me it's getting a little bit more damp, but Tomaselli makes it through past Federi there, so going to move by the Italian, passing his fellow Italian, taking advantage of the fact that he was battling with Felix Sontag, and you don't really see that many moves around the outside of that corner there, but that was a good move for sure by Tomaselli, so he is through. So Federi loses another position there. Meanwhile, this is the battle once again raging on for P4. This is between Lopez and Franco Gamba. And so as they come through Sontag, I think it's got a bit wide, and I think he's lost position to Tomaselli. He might even lose to Federi as well, and Federi is through and makes it through another position. So Sontag, who was trying to pass David Kupok for a position there, and unfortunately just went wide, went onto the curve, and that allowed the cars behind to get through. So yeah, so been lots of overtakings so far. It's been an exciting race, and here we go. To quote Fabrizio Romano, the rain is now here. Kupok, is he going to finally make the move past Fosbury in the wet? Well, that part of the track looks dry. It looks down the front straight, it looks wet, but here it is dry. But I would imagine soon drivers will start to pit for the wet tyres. Meanwhile, Federi all over the back, trying to get back past Tomaselli. Not quite going to work here, and it's going to be even trickier in these conditions. So down the front straight it's wet. Around here it still looks relatively dry. But who is going to blink first is going to be the big question, because then that will open the doors to everyone else pitting. Meanwhile, Gal all over the back of Lopez, who is seemingly struggling for pace at this moment in time in the Grand Prix. It's just not really going well for him. But actually here down the back straight it actually appears to be wet, and you can see the spray coming from the cars as Gal now trying to go past Lopez. Has he done it? I think he may have done. Yes. No, he hasn't. No. Not quite, and so he's failed to make the move stick. I mean, or Gamba actually is coming. I think Carr might be coming in as well, actually. So I think this will be for wet tyres. So into the pits comes Amar Carr, and he might, and this is for Carr as well. He might try and do the undercut on the two Ferraris. This would be a great chance for him to take the lead of the Grand Prix. And so Carr now comes into the pit, so he's coming in. And oh, look at that, several cars coming in. Gamba, De Rossa, Gomez, Moitin, Kupok, I think Fosbury, they're all coming in. So yeah, Gamba's in, De Rossa is in, Gomez is in, Moitin is in. Loads of drivers coming in. They clearly think, well, they've clearly been told by the teams that the rain is going to be coming down hard. So they're all coming into the pits now. So we'll see actually how the cars do that are going to be held out on track, as we've got a yellow flag out somewhere on the circuit. I'm not sure where. Car, I think, has been held up a little bit, trying to come in as Evan Byrne is around. That's coming out of the kind of chicane there. And was this contact from Matteo Catalan, or did Byrne lose it by himself? And yes, I think there was contact. Catalan goes wide, and Byrne actually blocking the track there from the cars there. So Catalan tried to move on the inside there. It was actually a good move by the Italian. Then Byrne, who was actually pitting on this lap, and unfortunately just slid right into the side of Catalan and then blocks the track. And blocks Chatfield and Lean Campana. And unfortunately that's a bit of an unnecessary move there by Byrne. I think he'll probably regret having to do doing that, but I suppose technically you could say it wasn't his fault really. But so as we look at all the cars coming in, there's so many cars that have come into the pits. The two Ferraris haven't got in. Kupok, as we're seeing, is in. So Willows has not come in, Chung has not come in, Lopez has not come in, Gal hasn't, Tomaselli hasn't. So I'll need to have a look at the rest of the order to see who else. I'm pretty sure after Tomaselli is where everyone else has pitted, I believe. But we'll see, as hopefully it will swap down. Sontag is in. There's several cars at the back, obviously, now coming in now. Federi, I don't think he came in. Carr did. Gamba did. De Rossa has. Catalan didn't, I don't think, originally. But I think, obviously, now cars, everyone is going to start to come in. But of course, the Ferraris, who is going to be the first really to pit out of the leaders? Which of the Ferraris is going to come in first? Is it going to be Chung or is it going to be Willows? So it looks like neither are actually pitting at the moment. So the top four are not pitting, or top five even. Tomaselli's not coming in yet. So they're going to try and do it out for another. Oh no, I'm wrong. Willows is going to come in now. Actually slides a little bit coming through the corner, gets a little bit out of shape there. So Willows now deciding the time is now to come in to the pits. And so as we look at the rest of the order, there's Rokin, there's guys at the back. So Willis is coming in now. So Chung is going to be the one that's hung out to dry. Lopez is coming in. I didn't see if Gao was coming in or not. But Chung is the one that's going to be one of the last ones to pit. But I don't know if it will be to her advantage. And the question is, of course, for Willows, will Carr be ahead by the time he comes in? So Gal is coming in. So Lopez and Gal do come in. Tomaselli is coming in as well. Federi is in. So Chung is now going to be the only one on circuit. Oh no, Catalan actually still is yet to come in as well, and Chatfield. So, yeah, so Chung will be the only driver on this lap that will not come in, it looks like, for wet tyres. So everyone else coming in. So the question is, does Willows come out ahead of Carr or not? So Willows comes out. The pit lane just seems so unbelievably slow. And Willows actually being held up here. Willows being severely held up. And, well, he could have gone ahead of Gal, but he's waiting Willows. That's going to cost him so much time. And the pit stop was relatively quick as well. So that could play into Carr's advantage. And it could still even play into Chung's advantage as well. I don't know why Willows decided to wait there, because Gal was the only one. And he'd come into his pit box, and, ooh dear, so where's Carr? Carr's actually just coming past the line, so I think Carr is going to come out in front, I think. This could actually be really close. As Carr's coming through the corner, where is Willows at the pits? There is Willows. So as they come down to the first corner, will Carr get in front? He's going to slow down, I think, trying to work the conditions. So Willows, I think, might have... Oh, and there's a car out. Gopana is out, and he was actually pitting this lap as well. So he was, again, one of the last guys yet to come in. So what happened here? So did he make a mistake by himself, or did he have a mechanical failure? He was pitting. So what happened? And he got messed up there. He got put off by the Racing Point going past him there. Campana, I believe that was... Oh, who was that? Was that Moira Moichin, or was that Rote? Yeah, it was Moira Moichin. He was going to go in. Unfortunately, Moichin was there. He kind of got spooked by him, and Campana then just drives left-handed into the wall. I think that's a that's a pretty embarrassing crash, to be brutally honest. So the yellow flag is out. Capada's car's moving away. So Willows has luckily, despite that pit lane hold up, still managed to stay ahead, and yeah, he is very, very lucky indeed that that has happened. But as we look at De Rossa now, who's trying to pass Lopez into the next corner, it's very, very close there, and whew, that could have gone badly wrong. But he has gone wide though. And Gal has now got through past De Rossa, so that's not worked out for De Rossa, unfortunately for him. So all these conditions are going to be very interesting. So I didn't see if Chung was coming in. The gap Chung to Willows is about 29 seconds. So they're all on wet tyres, of course. They haven't decided to go onto the inters, because I said it is going to get dry as we go later on into the race. So, as meanwhile, Gamba now attacking Carl. This is for P3. And Gamba is on wet tyres, so this is legitimately for position. So Gamba might actually be in with a shout of the win here, possibly. So Chung is now in. The gap was about 29 seconds, although the pit lane here seems to be just very, very slow. So I don't know if Chung will get out ahead or not. I'm not sure. But she'll be on fresh, wet tyres. So although they'll be pretty cold. But this is the battle for second place. Chung has actually made her stop. So Willows is actually only just coming around the final couple of corners now. Now around turn 18. I think Chung actually is going to stay in front. Because she's already made her stop. And she's going to probably be now getting up to full speed. So where is Chung? And yeah, Chung is going to be out in front. So that is actually worked out for her very well. And now she's on the wet tyres in the lead. And there they come. All the battle behind for second position. So Chung is legitimately the leader of the race. Meanwhile, Gabba now attacking Carr for third. Into turn one, is he going to do it? And he has, and I had a bad feeling that he was going to go and hit that. He was going to hit Willows in front there. I really thought that was going to happen, but Gamble went for that move. He sent it, as Carlos Sainz would say, or he did or didn't send it, but he made it through. And this is Mateo Catalan, who goes into the back of Chatfield, spins, and so Catalan gets away without damage. And Chatfield, I think, actually kept on going, so yeah, no harm. So I suppose, yeah, it didn't really work out for Catalan. Meanwhile, this is the battle for P9. This is Kupok, who is going past Gomez for 9th, and yeah, heading towards what I call the first corner, and he makes it through up into 9th position. Meanwhile, behind, I think that's Fosbury trying to hold off the McLaren of Tomaselli. So Tomaselli's moved up a little bit actually so far this race, and as we look through the other order, so Chung has got about 3.5 second lead at the moment. Gamba, Carr and Lopez all 1 second behind each other. De Rossa's not too far behind Gal either. And so as you look at George Roque, who's pulling off to the side, and Roque has got a transmission failure. So his race is now over before it even really started. And so Roque is now out of the Russian Grand Prix. So he unfortunately got hit on the first lap by Mackenzie, so he had to try and recover from there, and well, Roque's going to get nothing out of this race. So another retirement from this Grand Prix. This is Roach just coming through. He was down all the way in 19th place, so he wasn't too far off Catalan, but he was kind of in a league of his own, and unfortunately for him, he's going to get nothing from this race. And so as you look at him pulling off the side of the circuit into the wall, of course, as you do. Meanwhile, this is the battle. This is Gal now trying to get past Franco Lopez, who's not letting him through, heading into the first corner. And is Gal through on the inside? And yes, he does pick it up to fifth position. Lopez has gone wide. And oh, Fosbury is out. The Fosbury era is out. And Tomaselli, I think, was involved with him, because it looks like he spun. And this was the battle for 11th that has ended right here. So I don't really know what you can say about that. I think the move was really on there for Tomaselli. And so as you look at the view again, and unfortunately Fosbury just slid very, very slowly into the wall. And so once again the battle for P2 still continuing. Gamba all over the back of him, but Gal is again in a Mercedes sandwich, and Gal, who's obviously got past Lopez as well, I might add. And as they're coming through, no chance of a move there. And so, and Chatfield is off, and Chatfield is out. Deja vu, and exactly the same thing has happened this time. Matteo Catalan has made contact with Chatfield, and so both Haas cars out within a lap of each other at exactly the same corner in exactly the same fashion. So there was the contact right there. And so, yeah, what can you say about that really? Now, meanwhile, the battle of P2 once again still going on. Gamba now on the inside of Willows into the first corner. Surely this is the move, and yes, Gamba is now up into P2 as Willows goes very wide there, going into the first corner. Gal now going to be all over the back of Willows, possibly, actually, if he's close enough. But I don't think he's quite close enough yet. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes, one behind the other, and De Rossi is there as well, of course. Kupok in ninth, Titkoff a lap down. There's, I think, Federi, who's actually somehow managed to get to 10th. Gomez really struggling in this stint. He was in the points, but he's now going to drop down to what looks like 12th place, as Byrne is going to go past him, which he does. So Gomez really struggling at this moment in time. But the two Mercedes right behind each other. Gal is now right behind Willows for P3. And going onto the straight, he's already making a move. Look at the speed difference between the two cars. And is Gal going to meet through here on the inside of Willows? Not quite, as to back off. And so he's not unable to make the move stick. Meanwhile, Lopez trying to make the move stick on Carr's Mercedes teammate into the first corner. Is he going to go for it? He's on the inside. And there's no contact. I don't think it's going to quite work out. It's going to be now side by side now. But of course, De Rossi is there too. Right involved in this. It's side by side between the two Mercedes. Lopez on the inside of Carr. He's got the position on the track, and oh no! And well, he's got the position on track, but he's got damage with it. Carr is out of the race, and well, Toto Wolff is going to be bagging his desk and destroying his desk now. And oh no! And another one, and Lopez, I think, has just been hit by De Rossi. Would you believe it? Both Mercedes are now out of the race, and that is just brilliant news for Willows. But what has happened? So let's just go back and have a look at the replay again. So Lopez was on the inside of Carr, and it was side by side coming through turn 4 essentially, the long left-hander. And of course De Rossi was right behind as well, looking to see if he could make a move. And we saw, of course, what happened on the first lap between Kupok and De Rossi. And this time it was more deadly than that. And I mean, I think Lopez just should have backed off really, because I think Carr had the line. You could say Lopez had his nose in there, but it just wasn't on. So, yeah, Carr is out, and then this is what happened, because we saw him spinning, and then did De Rossi try and make a move on the inside? He did, and of course I thought he got caught out by, I think Lopez probably braking earlier than he would expect. So, both Mercedes out of the race. De Rossi is going to have to pit for a new front wing. Luck doesn't change with him, unfortunately, just doesn't seem to have the rub of the green at all, really. And again, he was just pure unlucky. That's all you can really say about that. Just very, very unlucky. So he'll have to pit for a new front wing. So that where does that leave the others? Renault is now actually in the top 5, so he's taken a good advantage of this. So he's now into 5th position. So at the moment, Chung extending the lead over Gamba. So Kupok is in 6th. Look at the rest of it. Federi is 7th. Byrne is 8th. Gomez is 9th. De Rossi obviously is in the pits now, so he's going to be out of the points. So that means actually Sontag is going to be in the points unless Tomaselli passes him, which he's trying to do right now as they come now down towards the first corner. But Sontag now temporarily in the points at this moment in time. But for how long? And there actually is De Rossi just coming out of the pits in the background there. So he comes out in 12th position. So points still definitely on the cards for him. Meanwhile, Gal looks to be closing actually on the back of Franco Gamba for second place here, because Gamba's not, well, yeah, he's not gaining on Chung out front, so yeah. And so Willows has dropped off the 2 Red Bulls. Moichin is a fair few seconds off. Kupok's about 6 seconds off as well. For Dairy, 10 seconds away, but he has Byrne right behind as well. Gomez in 9th, Sontag at the moment in 10th, then Tomaselli, De Rosa, Catalan, Martinez, Mackenzie. So yeah, and we've only been 16 laps in. Of course, it's going to rain for probably a few more laps or so, but then of course later on in the race is when it's going to start to dry up, so that's when it's going to be even more interesting. Meanwhile, Mackenzie trying to pass Martinez 440, then he will do, as Martinez has just gone wide right there. So good move there by Mackenzie. But meanwhile, this is Gal, who's right behind Franco Gamba. This is for second position, and Gal's going to attempt to pass Franco Gamba, and he can't do it there. Is he going to try and do it into the first corner? He's in the slipstream, and is he going to make it into the first corner? There's a yellow flag out on the circuit. I don't know where that is, and it's Sontag who's off, and he rejoins, and luckily it doesn't get any damage from that, but unfortunately his chance of points now seemingly slipping away. So this is the battle with Tomaselli for position. He makes contact after Tomaselli had just passed him, and Sontag spun there. Very lucky actually not to get collected by the 2 cars coming past him, De Rosa there and one other. And meanwhile, this is Byrne passing for Dairy for 7th place, coming down towards the first corner, and Byrne is through, so he now moves up into another position. So will Federi try and get it back at the next corner? He's just about to switch in, but no. Gao is once again right behind his teammate. This is the battle for P2, and Gao clearly is the quicker car, so I think Gamba may as well just let him go, because Chung is just edging away out front. But Gao's going to try and attempt to go around the outside, and we've seen moves made this way, so Gao might try and make it, and he's not going to do it because he's not got the edge in front, so he's going to have to wait until the front straight. That's his next best opportunity to make the move. So as there's Federi trying to keep up with Byrne. De Rosa now in 11th place, and so as we look at the rest of the order, so Sontag actually I think has dropped down another position actually, and this is why he goes wide and then loses, makes just a big mistake there. And so this is the battle for P2 once again. Gao, is he going to make the move on the inside? Oh no, there's contact between the two, and does Gao make it through now? And the answer is no, and they still haven't been able to make the move. And now look at it, Willows has closed right back up. So Gao's got to get it done now, because Willows is there, and Willows might even try and pass. He's going to try to sneak through past Gao for 3rd place here, but unable to do so as Willows is on the wrong line there. But wow, that really backfired there for the 2 Red Bulls, and that's good news for Ferrari, of course. But there was the contact between the two, and yeah, it just held them up severely there, trying to get back on the track as quick as possible. Well, that allowed Willows, who was not really on the Red Bull's pace, to catch back up. And so if Willows wants to make a move and try and make it a Ferrari 1-2 and stop Red Bull from making it a 2-3, he needs to make it through now. This is of course a replay of Willows just about edging in front. Did briefly actually take 3rd position, but Gao had the line coming through into the next corner, so he kept the position there, and that's allowing Chung to extend her lead at the front of the field. Now this is Gao making yet another move on Gamba into the first corner. Is this the move? And finally it's a clean move, and he's now passed Gamba into 2nd place, and now Gamba's going to have to defend from Willows. So Willows will want, of course, to take as many points as he can now that Lopez is out of the race, as Gamba really trying hard. He's making a little mistake there, trying to defend from Willows behind. Actually, he might do so because he got a terrible run off the corner, and Willows might make it through into 3rd here. And is he going to do it? It's very close, but I think Willows has done it now, and yep, Gamba goes wide as we have another yellow flag out on the circuit. And that is Maxim Titkov having a nightmare time in his home GP. And this was, as he makes contact as he was being lapped by De Rosa there. But this was obviously Gamba making his little error there, which allowed, of course, Willows to get through. He just got a terrible run up the corner. Willows got the slipstream, and Gamba tried to defend, but Willows was already on the inside. He was making that move right then and there. And, of course, Gamba went wide onto the very slippery AstroTurf, and then Willows was able to make it into P3. Meanwhile, Tomaselli looks like battling with De Rosa. This is for P10. I think Tomaselli's through there. Of course, De Rosa had that very scary encounter, I suppose, with Titkov there. And meanwhile, this is close. Very close. As Gamba was trying to get back past Willows there. That could have gone wrong. But meanwhile, we're looking, of course, at Laura Chung, who at the moment is clear out front at this moment in time. It's all working out pretty well for her at the moment. And so, of course, if she wins here, it'll be the first time that she's won here at the Russian Grand Prix. And so as we look at the rest of the order, there's Tomaselli, the two McLarens battling at the moment for what is the final point, and Mateo Catalan is there just outside waiting for these two to trip up. As now we're looking at De Rosa trying to pass Tomaselli back for P10, which he does, so that was a clean move. And so there's Mateo Catalan, who's going to try and make a move possibly on De Rosa if he's close enough, or Tomaselli I should say, and he's in the slipstream, so will he try and go for it? He is going to go for it, Catalan. He's going to no, not quite, just not quite got the line through the corner there. So as we look on board with Mateo Catalan, the Italian, as we're looking at Joseph Willows, who's under pressure from Franco Gamma. This is the battle for P3. Gamma wants that position back, and Willows trying to hold it from him, but Willows, as I said, wants as many points as he can to get back on Franco Lopez. Now the fact that he's out of the race, the gap was about, I think, over 60 points beforehand. That's going to be obviously vastly reduced now. Chung and Gal, the gap about 14 seconds. I think that's about what it was before. I think Gal may have closed it up a little bit. So we have another yellow flag out on the circuit. What is it this time? And it's Martinez, who is out of the race. And whereas I think that's just after the first main corner, I think, actually. And I don't know if he's suffered an accident or if he's pulled off or anything like that. Not sure what's happened, but we're going to find out very soon, as now the rest of the cars are starting to go through. And it was a transmission failure, so it was a mechanical failure for Martinez, and I suppose I'll be glad it happened to him and not, of course, to Maxime Tikoff, although Tikoff has had a pretty torrid race so far anyway. He's absolutely plumb last. Meanwhile, this is David Kupok, who has passing Moichin, and that is a stone wall 5-second penalty right there, passing Moichin under yellow flags, and there it is from race control on the screen. Gets a 5-second penalty for overtaking Moichin under yellow flags. So there we go. And speaking of Kupok, he's in to the bits, and Franco Lopez is going to receive a 5-place grid penalty for causing the incident with our car, which, yeah, I think had he probably survived, he would have got a time penalty, probably about 20-25 seconds, but now that he is out of the race, well, that both cars are out of the race, I think that's probably a fair punishment. So, David Kupok now into the pits, obviously pitting again, so he was on the wet tyres, remains on the wet tyres. There's another car in the pits, I think that was Andrea Federi who is in. And it looks like the sky is brightening out a bit, so it doesn't look quite as wet as before. Meanwhile, is this Franco Gamba that has finally overtaken Willows back for third? And the answer is yes, it is. So Gamba does take third position back away from Joseph Willows. Meanwhile, Federi, of course, is in. As the battle between De Rosa and Gomez. This is going to be for it's going to be P8 now. Now that Federi's in the pits and De Rosa trying to make it on the inside here, unable to do so. He's lost a bit of momentum there. That might allow the other car behind, I think that might be his teammate, to make a move into the first corner, but no, not quite. So he's going to have to wait. I mean, he could do it on the long left-hander if he could try it. Gal is closing the gap to Chung. It's now down to about 11.5 seconds. I think it's up slightly, maybe to 11.7, but the gap is coming down slightly, but it needs to be more than that, really, if Gal wants any chance of winning this race. Meanwhile, this is De Rosa trying desperately to get past Gomez into the next corner. This could be very close, but I think he's done it, and he finally makes it through past Gomez, and now Tomaselli going to do the same thing as well, or try and do the same thing. This, of course, was the replay of De Rosa doing said move to Gomez. Just got a much better run off the corner, and managed to get through on the inside there. Pretty well done. Evan Byrne now into the pits for another stop. So he's on the wets. Will he stay on the wets? And the answer is yes, he does. So of course they do have winter tyres, of course, in Grand Prix racing. Although quite rare, of course, in real life the wet tyres don't work for some odd reason. Cheers, Brady. But nonetheless, the wet tyres here do work. And that's what all the drivers are currently using. Meanwhile, Tomaselli trying to get past Gomez, who just doesn't seem to have any pace whatsoever. It just keeps on being overtaken by people. As there's Byrne, actually, who's just coming out of the pits there. Whoa, dear, Gomez lost out terribly there. He's no right down. He got passed by both Tomaselli and I think that was Mateo Catalan behind him. So that really worked out badly for Gomez there. So there goes Tomaselli, steeps fast, and there goes Catalan, and Byrne as well comes out in front. So Gomez pretty much got absolutely mugged, really. Meanwhile, we're looking at Mackenzie, who is now passing Sontag. This is for P13. The battle near the back of the field, so he finally makes it through. Meanwhile, of course, Gal, the gap to Chung, is actually now down a fair bit now. It's down to less than 10 seconds, but Gal now coming in for another stop. So he's going to try and obviously, I was about to say an undercut, but it would be the biggest undercut in human history if he managed to pull this one off. But so let's have a look. So he comes in, and let's see. He's obviously not going to go to the end, is he? Surely not. This would be ridiculous if he tries to. No, he doesn't. So he goes still on the wet tyres at this moment in time. So he comes out 5.9. That's a pretty quick stop. And so you need to hope he doesn't come out in too much traffic. And meanwhile, Matteo Catalan battling Tomaselli for 8th position here. So Gamma obviously now to 2nd, Willis 3rd, Moichi now to 4th. Gal will come out, it looks like, in 5th place. But Gamma is going to be pitting fairly late on. Going to try and probably hang it out, but it looks like, as I said, that Gamma's teammate Gal has come out in P5. So Gamma coming in, he's extended the gap to Willis. It's not a huge gap, but he's extended it to about 2 seconds. So that is good enough. And actually there's Boychin, who's actually not too far away from Willis, actually. Fair play. And there, of course, in the background as well, was Miguel Escal, who, of course, has just made his stop. Chung is, of course, going to be pitting in a fair few laps' time. Probably enough to go to the end. Meanwhile, Sontag getting a little bit out of shape. Unfortunately, really struggling now at this point in the race, but he's going to be pitting very soon. Might even be this lap, maybe, if he decides to come in as he goes across the line. And yep, actually will be pitting this lap. So, and meanwhile, actually Gamba's going to be pitting this lap. He's got a lot of fuel left, so maybe a tyre change. Well, it's obviously going to be I was about to say, would it be a tyre change? Of course it will be a tyre change, but what type of tyre? Well, to be honest, he actually made a mistake there. And what I say a mistake, a big mistake, as he's got wing damage from making that mistake in P2. And wow, Franco Gamba, he'll be fuming at himself for doing that. So yes, this definitely wasn't a scheduled stop. And so Franco Gamba comes in to change his damage between that. Hands him back P3. So Gamba now comes into the pits. And so he changes his tyres. And oh hello, it's going to be the intermediate tyres. Now this could be very, very interesting here. I wonder if actually many other people will try and follow suit now. The track still looks pretty wet, but it doesn't look like it's raining per se. So, let's see if that works out for Gamma on the intermediate tyres. The first one to go, and if it does work out, it's a genius move, and everyone will follow suit. But well, will it? We will find out. So he comes out in 7th, just behind De Rossa in the McLaren. Meanwhile, Matteo Catalan is now attempting to pass. This is Tomaselli into the first corner, and he's going to make a late move, and he's going to do it. Good move there by the Italian, and now Evan Byrne is right behind Tomaselli in the McLaren, and he can't quite make a stick there. Tomaselli's got the run. Mackenzie is in as well. Actually, there's a few drivers in. Sontag is in, Mackenzie and Titkoff. Are they all going on the intermediate tyres? Are they all following suit to what Gamma did? So we'll find out from Sontag if he goes onto the inters or not. And the answer is... actually, no, he doesn't. So he doesn't go onto the inters. Mackenzie does. Titkoff does. So Sontag clearly doesn't think the inters are where it's at. Some of the drivers are going for the inters. Whether it's them deciding it or the pit or the crew deciding it. Williams is coming in this lap. He was actually pitting anyway. So I wonder if he'll come in on the... if he'll come in on the wets and go out on the inters. We are going to find out. So he comes in to the pits, and so will he come out on inters or will he stay on wet tyres is going to be the big question. So here we go. He's now in, and I think a lot of other drivers are probably going to be pitting as well. So this is going to be very, very interesting at this point in this race. So Willows comes in. Does he come out on the inters? And yes, he does. He does come out onto the intermediate tyres. So wow, this is going to be very, very interesting indeed to see what the rest of it does. Sontag was, I think, one of the only drivers actually still not to go on the intermediate tyres. So Willows now comes out onto the circuit on the inters. So how well are these going to work out? So Q-Pock at the moment is in P4. So that's good news for that. Is good news for him. Gamma down in P7. So Willows is going to get ahead. Chung actually has gone a bit wide there, and that's allowed Mackenzie to try and get past, or at least somewhat get past. And ooh, this is a very interesting situation here. Chung still on the wet tyres, and Mackenzie obviously on the inters as well. So maybe that was it a mistake? And it was actually. Chung went wide there, and Tikoff kind of being a bit of a nuisance there. It went a little bit wide, and Chung had nowhere to go. Fortunately, no harm done. But Chung, as I said, still going there on the wet tyres. She's not coming in for a few laps yet, but unless she decides to come in early. Sontag again going a little bit wide there. He's been struggling all race really. I can't just say it was just because of the industry of a yellow flag out, and Gal is around. And did he have contact? I don't know, but Roland Moichin is actually now in P2. And it was actually, this was why. So Gal was battling with Moichin, just got a little bit too close to him, his fellow Hungarian. And they both went, Gal went spinning, Moichin kept going. But not what Gal wanted at all. Meanwhile, this is Evan Byrne on the wet tyres, passing, this is the McLaren of Tomaselli. Going to try and go around the outside. Is this going to work? I'm not sure. This could be very... Ooh, no, Tomaselli does keep the position there. So, there we go. And that was a very, very close encounter there. So this is Matteo Catalan, who is on the back of Franco Gamba. So, Gamba who's on the Inters. So, clearly at this moment in time, it doesn't look like the Inters are working. I know Catalan's just about coming in, but he's still on the wet. So, looks like maybe the wet tyres are still the way to go at this moment in time, if the fact that Gamba can't get away from Catalan at this moment in time. So Sontag, as they're coming through, looking at him in 14th, he was one of the only ones who actually still stayed on the wet tyres, and yeah, it's not really working out. Well, this race unfortunately is not really working out for us. Catalan has passed Gamba for P7. Byrne has now passed Tomaselli for P9 as well, but he's still on the wet. So I wonder actually Gamba could even drop out of the top 10 at this point if it's going that badly. But I think Sontag has a problem. I forgot to mention, I think it looks like, and he may have to go into the... But he will have to go into the pits if he does have a problem. Red light on the dash is not good. And so is he going to jink to the right? And the answer is... Oh no, he won't now because the engine has caught fire. So Felix Sontag, his race is now over. And yep, so he's going to get absolutely nothing from this race. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of a lot of fire in this weather. So his race is over. So that is going to be, I think, the fifth or sixth retirement from this race. I think 7th even actually. And now the fact he's going to be pulling off, but his race is now done. And yeah, it's just tough. It looked promising with Sontag, but it just faded away. It just went very slowly, just bit by bit, just got worse, and now it just got to this. So he is now out. Meanwhile, Gal is now closing back up. De Rossa, meanwhile, is on the back of Willows, who, again, I'll remind you, is on the intermediate tyres. So it doesn't look like the intermediate tyres are working, because Catalan has passed Gamba. De Rossa is trying to pass Willows, unable to do so at this moment in time. Of course, some of these guys are coming into the pits, going to be coming into the pits soon. So I wonder if they'll then go onto the Inters, because by then probably the Inters might actually start working. But as I said, at this moment in time, it is not working for these Inter guys. Gomez is coming into the pits. Baderi is another guy who's still out currently on the wet tyres. And again, it doesn't look like it is raining. The track still looks wet. So Tomaselli has come out and has stayed on the wet tyres. So clearly, the Inters not working as well as people thought they would. Gao now battling once again with Moichin. I'll have to hope for not for a repeat of what happened before. Gao now right behind the Racing Point. He's going to try and go around. What is the outside? Is he going to make it stick here? The answer is no. And yep, unable to do it as Sontag's car gets pushed away. And so yeah, there we go. There we go. That is it. So De Rossa now all over the back of Willows. This is a legitimate battle for position, by the way, because De Rossa, he is going to be pitting soon, and I wonder if he'll be going on to the Inters then. That's when they'll probably start working. De Rossa now going to make a move on the inside of Willows. Is he going to do it? Yes, no. And yes, he has done it. Willows goes wide, and now finally De Rossa makes the move stick for P5. But a clear difference in the performance of the tyres, it seems here, and whew, dear me. And as we look at look on board the replay again between the two, and that was a pretty easy move. Meanwhile, Matteo Catalan is now in the pits for Toro Rosso. So will he go onto the intermediate tyres? And yeah, this is good. Surely this is probably about the time that you'd probably say to go on to the intermediate tyres now. Probably earlier on, it would just hasn't worked really. So Catalan comes in. What tyres will he go on? Will it be the Inters now? Yes, now it's the Inters. I think now is the premium tyre for the Inters, although he's not actually fueled to the end. Gomez now comes into the pits, and I imagine he'll go on to the Inters as well. So here we go. And so will he go on to the Inters? And no, actually he stays on the wets, interestingly. Okay. So it's all about kind of strategy and what the drivers think. I mean, the crew could tell you every trick in the book, but it's all about what the drivers feel. So Gal was said still on the wets. So is Moichin. This is a legitimate battle for P2, by the way. So Gal has been stuck behind Moichin for well, a long while really, and unable to make the move. Well, of course he did try it earlier, and of course that didn't work out very well. So he's got to be very, very careful that yeah, he does it. So there we go. And so we're looking at Gal once again, all over the back of Moichin, heading towards the final corner. Gal might try and go for it here, but no, not quite. So he's got to wait until possibly the front straight. Meanwhile, Chung is clear out front at this moment in time, and she'll be pitching soon. As there's De Rossi, who goes a little bit over the curbs there, making a, I guess you could call it a mistake, somewhat. But yeah, as now we're looking at him, who's clear of Willow. So unfortunately, the early inter-tyre gamblers, it's not worked out, and so now they're just going to have to really. They've made their beds, they've got to line it, they've just got to make do with what they've got. Meanwhile, Burn all over the back of Gamba. Meanwhile, Gal has now finally passed Moichin for second place, and he makes it through past his fellow Hungarian, and now you can see finally got the gap already now that he's actually got past. He's stretched away. David Kupok, meanwhile, I forgot he's actually still in fourth, but let's not forget he's got that 5-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Burn trying to go past Gamba on the intermediate tyres, and he's going to do so for P8. So that is not worked out. Unfortunately for Gamba, more than anyone else, it's worked out badly for him. And yeah, there's not really much else you could say. It's unfortunately he's just had no pace whatsoever. Willers has struggled as well, but he's not done as badly. He's tried to hold his own. And does it look like a slight dry line there? No, it might just be the track that's fooling me there. But yeah, so it doesn't. The track certainly does not look as wet as it did before. I think that looks to be maybe a slightish dry line there. I don't know. But so Chung is actually going to be pitting very, very soon, actually. So I wonder if she'll go onto the intermediate tyres. Well, she can't possibly stay on the wets. Meanwhile, Tomaselli making a bit of a mistake there, getting a little bit out of shape, but keeping it on the road as he now comes through the final corner. Now onto the straight. So he's running just outside of the points, a few seconds behind Matteo Catalan. Meanwhile, now Laura Chung is coming in for, I mean, possibly might even be a final pit stop of the race, maybe. So Chung comes in, and let's see what tyres she decides to go on. So she's obviously well clear of everyone else, so no need to worry about everyone else. Okay then, so she is now going to be the very, very first driver to go on the dry tyres. So now I thought I was seeing slight parts of dry line at certain parts of the circuit. So yeah, I mean it's still a big gamble, a very, very big gamble. So Chung's come out. She's going to be comfortably ahead of Gal, so she needs to take it easy. But obviously, I mean, it still looks very, very wet, so it's a gamble that hopefully will pay off. As I said, she'll still come out in the lead. It still looks very wet everywhere. I mean, there's somewhat of a dry line you could see at parts of the circuit. There's a bit here that's a little bit dry. It still just doesn't look dry enough, but it's starting to appear. So Ferrari has seen a window, and they're going to go for it. So fair play, I respect that, and we'll see if Gal is able to close on his tyres to Laura Chung. But of course Gal is on wet tyres, so I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know. I just don't know. That should just be my name, really. Meanwhile, that was the McLaren, I think, of De Rosser. I'm pretty sure that was just coming into the pits. So I didn't see what tyres he went on, and I wonder if he's just responded to the call to Chung. So it looks actually, you can see the dry line there. So yeah, it is starting to appear. So I don't know. Maybe it's not actually as bad of an idea as I thought. But I suppose for the guys on the Inters that went very early, it's not worked out well for them, and some of them I think have only just gone onto them. But for them, it actually could still work out. And if they have to pit again, they could easily go on the dries, and it could actually work out for them. So De Rosser's come out in P9. I obviously didn't see what tyres he went on. So Gal, again, looks to be closing to Chung. I think he definitely is at this moment in time. I think he's still got the tyres, but of course Gal will have to pit. So even if he passes Chung, he would have a whole lot to do. And he definitely looks to be closing on us, so obviously the dries, Chung having to be very, very careful here, not to make any mistakes, because if she does Gal, well, Gal is going to be onto her. You can see how much Gal seems to be closing. So Moichin, meanwhile, is coming in. Kupok is set to come in as well, so I wonder if those two are going to go onto the dry tyres. So Moichin was coming in anyway. Kupok still had plenty of fuel, so he's pitting early. So as we look at Moichin coming in, so he's surely going to go onto the dries then, or unless he decides to go on the Inters. But Kupok, as I said, is coming in as well, even though he still had a lot of fuel left to go. Yeah, so Moichin comes in. What tyres will we go? Will it be the dry tyres? And yes, it will be. So, yep, dry tyres are going to be the way to go. Kupok, as you can see, is just coming in front, and he's going to go, it looks like, onto the dries as well. Tyres changing, and yep, he's on the dries, so it looks like now everyone else is going to start to go onto the dries. So if I was like Willows and Gamba, I'd just come in now for the dries. Byrne is coming in as well, he'll be on dries. So everyone else now is going to come in on dry tyres. So meanwhile, Chung up front, Gal does seem to still be closing on her. You can see the gap is coming now, but Chung just needs to be careful. As I said, just can't make any silly mistakes. If she makes even one mistake now, Gal could, I still think Chung's the favourite to win, but meanwhile Gamba, who by the way is going to the end on the intermediate tyres, and he's now going to try and pass Moichin, who's just come out of the pits here. So maybe now for Gamba the tyres might actually come into effect. He's now going to pass, looks like, Moichin for P4. Is he going to do it here? The answer is no, as De Rosser is off, and Catalan was involved, and I think Catalan may have just come out of the pits, was it? No, I think it was just a genuine crash, and I think, is that Moichin on dry tyres? No, I think he might still be on dry, actually. Gal now coming to the pits, now that he was on the back of Chung, but he was going to have to pit inevitably for the dry tyres. Meanwhile, Gamba once again going to try and pass Moichin for P4. Now, so this is interesting. Moichin's on the dries, but Gamba's still on the Inters, and now, as I said, the Inters might actually come into effect for him, but they're still going to be badly worn, but the rubber might still come into effect, as I said. Tomaselli in 9th, Catalan in 10th, Federi 11th, Gomez in 12th, Mackenzie in 13th position at this moment. Gal comes in, and he's on the dry, so he goes back out. Willow's still going on the intermediate tyres. Now, he and Gamba one of the first ones to do it. Moichin really trying to hold off Gamba, but Gamba now finally through to pass Franco Gamba there. So, Moichin doesn't really need to battle Gamba, because, even though Gamba's going to the end, surely by the end of the race, if the dry line is starting to appear now, by the end of the race, Gamba's tyres are going to be red hot. So I don't know if Gamba can honestly go to the end on these tyres. I'd be very interested to see if he could. I really would. Kind of rhymed. Meanwhile, Tomaselli is going to come in for the dries. That's going to hand a few places up behind as well. But at the moment in time, of course, Scow now on the dries. I don't think he's going to be able to close up to Chung at the end. I think it's a bit too much of a gap. It's 24 seconds? I'd be stunned, really, if Gal can make... He can make up time. He can make up a fair amount of time, but there's just no way he could do 24 seconds in less than 20 laps. I don't see it happening. Kupok now battling with Roland Moichin, but of course, let's remind ourselves, Kupok has that 5-second time penalty, so even if he passes Moichin, he needs to get 5 seconds on him. Gamba at the moment in 4th, Willows in 3rd, but Willows has to pit anyway. Chung still leading. So let's go through the order. So Chung is leading, Gal is in 2nd, Gamba is in 3rd, Willows is in 3rd, Gamba is 4th, Moichin is 5th, Kupok is 6th, Gomez has just come in for a pit stop. This will be for the dries. And you can clearly see the dry line now starting to appear, but it's still very, very wet elsewhere. As Chung is coming through the first corner. So here's the order. So at the moment, Chung is first, Gal is second, Willers is third, but he's going to pit one more time. Gambit is fourth, but even though he doesn't have to pit, I'm sure he's going to. But at the moment, it's working for him, so he's in fourth. Moichin is fifth, Cupok sixth, De Rossa seventh, Byrne eighth, Catalan ninth, and Federi at the moment in 10th place. But there's still a heck of a lot of laps left to go. Anything can still happen in this race. But for Willows, as I said, he'll be one of the last guys to pit on the drive, so he could be very quick at the end, actually, Willows. So let's not count him out to possibly still get a podium out of this race. I was right. I called it. Gamba is in now for the drive. So unfortunately for Gamba, that inter call-out for him, that inter-tire call-out just, yeah, it really unfortunately backfired on Red Bull. Now he'll be onto the dries, but where's he going to come out in the order, actually? So he's down to fourth. So meanwhile, this is the battle between Catalan and Byrne. This is for P, and Byrne just gets passed very easily by Catalan. So Gamba is now down. Oh, there he is. Actually, Gamba is down to 9th place. And yeah, so he's down to 9th, Gamba. So that's not worked out very well for him. I mean, he could have still. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could have still gone a few more laps, maybe, and maybe up to about lap 40, maybe, and then gone on to the dries because he would have been very quick. Could have done what Willers is probably going to do, and I just realised as well, of course, with Willers having to pit, Moichin is going to be on the podium at this moment in time. Cupog is going to be right behind, but of course he's not going to get it unless he passes Moichin and gets 5 seconds on him. So we could see a good battle for P3 towards the end of this race between Cupog and Moichin. So De Rossa at the moment is going to be 5th. I'm actually not sure. Where is Willers going to come on the circuit? Actually, Willers is going to pit this lap, so here we go. What's the gap to Moichin, actually? About 14 seconds. So he'll come out behind, but Willers is going to be very quick at the end. So this could be very, very interesting. We could see a really cool battle for the podium towards the end of this race. So Willers now comes in. The inter tyre, I don't know if I could say it didn't work out, but it worked out better for it worked out better for him than it did for Gamba. Let's just say that, really. He managed to do better than Gamba on the tyres. Gamba's really struggled. So Willers comes in. He'll lose 4th and 5th. I didn't see what the gap was actually between Cupok and De Rossa, actually. So we can just see where he comes. I think he'll come out probably about 6th or 7th. So Moichin and Cupok. Cupok is now right behind actually Moichin actually for 3rd. So that battle is going to be very fun. So Willers at the moment is going to be 5th, and that's where he's come out actually. So Willers could easily still get a podium out of this race for sure. He'll at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Byrne battling with Catalan. This is for P7, and Gomez is wide, and I think it was by himself. I don't believe there was any contact made. But yeah, so this was Gomez coming through the round and makes a little mistake there and goes wide. And yeah, there we go. Meanwhile, we're looking now. This is the battle for P3, but let's again. I'll keep saying it, but Cupok has a 5-second time penalty, so Moichin can keep him behind for as long as he can. Cupok is going to stay 4th, and with Willows on dries, going to be closing up on these guys, he could easily take the podium back here. So, and of course he needs that for the points really, to gain back on Franco Lopez. This is the battle, as you said, between Mackenzie and Gabriel Gomez. So Moichin trying to hold on desperately. Willows is about 10 seconds behind both of these two, but he's going to be very quick come the end. De Rossa is about 6 seconds off. Byrne is not too far away from De Rossa. Gamba's going to be closing up as well. He's on dries. Federi at the moment in 9th. Catalan in 10th. Tomaselli just outside the points in 11th position. So meanwhile, Mackenzie once again trying to get past Gomez. This is for 12th place. Two experienced drivers. And Mackenzie's surely going to try and make a move into the first corner, is he? Yes, no. And Gomez holds the position there. And Catalan is going to come through. Oh, Catalan's made a big mistake there, and that's allowed Tomaselli to take 10th position away from him there. So a big mistake by Catalan, struggling in these conditions. Of course, it's very slippery. Online it's fine, but the slightest mistake and you're offline, and you're going to struggle with the car. So Catalan is down another position. Now this is the battle once again for P3 going on. This is Moichin versus Cupok. Cupok trying to get his first ever OC podium. Meanwhile, Moichin trying to get his first podium in a long time. And so at the moment he's got it, so he just doesn't need to worry. He needs to hold up Cupok for as long as he can, and then he could let him pass. Meanwhile, Mackenzie does make it through past Gomez for 12th, just about. Manages to keep it on the circuit there. Gomez is going to be right behind though. But we're looking at Laura Chung, who is comfortably clear at the front of the field. You can clearly see the dry line now on the circuit. Meanwhile, Byrne is at the moment in 7th, but he's not anymore. He makes the mistake, and Gamba is through up into 7th position there. So Byrne, who is actually right behind De Rosa in the battle for P6. So Gamba moves up another position, but yeah, again, just the intercall for him just didn't work out, but at least he moves up. He could still pass De Rosa, though. And Willis is coming in again? Joseph Willis is coming into the pits again? Did the team not fuel him enough to the end? Oh my word. Oh, okay, well, forget about Willis trying to get the podium. Then this is a straight-out fight between Moichin and Kupok for 3rd. I can't believe Ferrari didn't actually fuel him to the end. That is just ridiculous there. But yeah, Willis is going to drop rapidly down the order, so Moichin is obviously going to be 3rd. Kupok's going to be in a comfortable 4th, even with that 5 seconds. And all Moichin can see getting a little bit out of shape there. Struggling to keep it on the road. So De Rosa is now 5th in the order. So, oh my word, Ferrari. I mean, Willis is going to be fuming with his team. The fact they didn't fuel him to the end. He had a good chance to get a podium out of this race. And he's going to finish lower down in the points. You know, and he could still get fastest lap. He's now down to 8th, actually. Willis with that stop. So he is going to be angry. Very, very. Oh, actually, now Byrne has actually had to pit once more for the end. So Byrne has not been fueled to the end either, actually. So Willis will take 7th away. So that's something, I guess. But still will not be any crumb recovery. So Gamba now is actually up to P6. Willis is 7th. Federi is just behind him there in 8th. Chung, meanwhile, is still clear at the front. I think, was it 20 seconds? So, yeah. It's looking pretty comfortable for her as she comes across the line. 5 laps to go of this Grand Prix. And there's actually a couple of cars coming out of the pits just in front there. There's Catalan and there's Byrne just coming out ahead of Matteo Catalan there. So he's going to be quick. So Federi there behind Willows. There's De Rosa in 5th. Kupok in 4th. Right behind Moichin. They're once again battling with each other. Kupok has been stuck behind Moichin. Just can't quite get through past him at this moment in time. He's been on his back, but he just hasn't been able to make a move through. Now, meanwhile, this is Franco Gamba, who's battling with De Rosa. This is for P5. He's trying to gain back another position. He's going to try and go around the outside of the pole. And is he going to do it? Nope, Gamba goes wide and gets a little bit on the bumps there. But luckily, no damage done. But he's still not able to make it through there. Really holding on for dear life is De Rosa now. Meanwhile, this is Moichin, who is in P3. He's now lapping. I think this is Gomez in front of him. Kupok has dropped away a little bit, actually, as they come into the hairpin. As Moichin comes through and Gomez makes contact. And oh, no! Can you believe what has just happened there? What on earth just happened? What? What on earth just happened? Oh, no! Oh, what? Oh, my. I actually can't believe it. What on earth have I just seen has happened there? So, we need to see a whole replay of that, but Kupok is in the pits. De Rosa's got damage. Franco Gamba is going to take P3. How on earth has he managed to get himself into that position? We need to see a whole replay of that, because what on earth just happened there? So Moichin had actually got clear of Kupok finally with just a lap to go. So Gomez was being lapped, and then what was he doing? Why was he doing that, Gomez? What on earth was he doing? Just what was he thinking there? He just didn't need to do that. And he just, unfortunately, Moichin just had nowhere to go. Gets clipped by Gomez and goes into the wall. And Roman Moichin, his podium chance gets taken away from him just like that. And Kupok also hit him, and Kupok got damaged. So Kupok, his chance of podium has also now gone. And De Rosa, De Rosa should be the one finishing 3rd in this race. How many instances has he been involved in? But Franco Gamba, who about what, 6-7 laps ago was in like 9th place, is now unbelievably going to get himself 3rd. I can't believe that has just happened. But that's also great news for Willows. He's moved up a couple more positions as well, actually. He's now up into, he'll be actually 5th now with De Rosa in the pits. So, oh wow. But you've got to feel for Moichin and also for Kupok as well, might I add. Didn't deserve any of that, what just happened to them. And Gomez just decided to become a complete kamikaze and just make a ridiculous move. Like, oh, I don't understand. But anyway, we're now on the last lap of this race. Let's calm ourselves down and get ourselves back together. So, Laura Chung, she was the last one to pit on the wet, to get onto the wet tires originally, and that worked out for her very well. And ever since then, she has just dominated this race. She's taken it easy. I thought going onto the dry tires when she did was not going to work out. I really thought it was too early, but she managed to hold on very well. Gal was not able to pass her. She was not able to pass him when she was on the dries and he was on the wets, and the wets were still clearly quicker, but he wasn't able to pass, and that was still key, because had he passed her, then he still had more of a chance to catch up to her at the end. But Chung has just kept it easy, just hadn't had any, well, I say hard work to do. She's had hard work trying to keep the lead, but still, it's not been worked too hard. But of course, it has been hard for her to do it. And Gabriel Gomez has received a 25-second time penalty and a 10-place grid penalty because of the incident. And yeah, that is fair dues, really, in my books. But Laura Chung has totally deserved this race. Once again, put on a masterclass performance. Did what she needed to do. Been very good on her tyres, and she's set to take her first ever Russian Grand Prix victory, and she's going to get herself right into title contention now with this win. So Laura Chung about to come round the final couple of corners, round turn 17 and now round turn 18, and Laura Chung is set to win the Russian Grand Prix for the first time in her career. What a performance from Laura Chung, and she is across the line and wins. So De Rosa doesn't deserve only 9th position. He'll be fuming with that. He should have had at least 3rd. He really should have done. Gao, meanwhile, is going to take 2nd position, and I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that. He's been very consistent this year, Gal, so he'll be very happy with that. Mackenzie is somehow going to get 10th position. How on earth has he managed that? I thought Tomaselli, I don't know what happened to him actually, I don't know if he pitted late on, but how on earth Mackenzie has managed to get himself a 10th place finish out of this, I'll never know. Tomaselli just missed out there in the limit. Gabriel Gomez is going to be last in 12th, going to get a 25-second time penalty and a 10-place grid penalty for the last race. I just don't know what he was doing there. He'd had such a good race last time out, had such a good qualifying, and then it just all went to pot, really. So Gomez is going to be last, and going to have Moichin and Kupok for trying to find him in the paddock after this race. So yeah, he'll be pretty annoyed about that. Will Kupok and Moichin, but Franco Gamba, he is the luckiest man on planet Earth in Russia. He gets 3rd place out of this, totally didn't deserve it. Willers, meanwhile, is actually going to get 4th place out of this, so it could have been actually higher for him as well had the team not messed up his fuel, but he'll get 4th. Be annoyed it wasn't 3rd, but that's about as best he could have done. Titkoff down in last, actually, I forgot about him. Federi actually going to get 5th place as well, out of nowhere. Burn in 6th. Kupok is going to be 7th, but which is actually going to be 8th, because Catalan is right behind him. So Kupok, after all that, is only going to finish in 8th place, so at least he gets points, but it could have been a whole lot better. But here are the full race results after a dramatic Russian Grand Prix. Laura Chung winning ahead of Miklas Gao in 2nd position, Franco Gamba 3rd, Joseph Willis 4th, Andrea Federi 5th, Evan Burns 6th, Matteo Catalan 7th, moving ahead of Kupok due to his 5-second time penalty, De Rosa in 9th, and Jim McKenzie completing the points in 10th, Tomaselli 11th for McLaren. Omar Carr also taking the fastest lap of the race actually as well, but that means no fastest lap points to anyone. Gabriel Gomez in 12th with the 25 seconds, Titkoff 13th, and Moichin still classified despite, of course, that incident with Gomez, with Sontag, Martinez, Lopez, Carr, Chatfield, Fosbury, Roque, and Lee Kapana all not finishing this race. So in the driver's standings, meanwhile, Gal actually moves ahead of Willers into 2nd place, actually. Despite being on the same points. Laura Chung, as I said, only 9 points behind the two, so she's still in with a small shout of title contention. Other movements include Byrne moving up to 9th, Federi moving up into 11th, De Rosa down to 10th, as we're going to look through the rest of the order. So Moichin and Gomez going down positions, of course. Brooks in 14th, Chatfield 15th, Mackenzie 16th, Kupok staying in 17th, Sontag 18th, Fosbury 19th, Kapala 20th, Titkoff 21st, and Rosetta Martinez did last. Car, of course, in the Drivers' Championship, and the only person yet to score a point. So now we're going to look at the Constructors' standings, so only 5 points. It's been very close all season between Mercedes and Ferrari, and it's going to surely go down all the way to the last race. Red Bull in 3rd, McLaren consolidating 4th, Alfa Romeo and Toro Rosso moving ahead of Racing Point actually to 5th and 6th, Racing Point down to 7th, Renault in 8th, Haas 9th, Williams in 10th, and Manor last in 11th position. So and the driver of the day was a tied actually vote between Chung and David Kupok, and I think that's fair enough, although I probably would have put Moichin in there to be honest, but hey ho, that was that, and that was a very controversial Russian Grand Prix to say the least. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to give the video a like, check out all the links in the description, check out our Twitter, join our Discord, check out our Wikia pages. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you for the next round of the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. We'll see you there.